Hello Pokemon trainers, welcome back to another Pokemon Scarlet and Violet Battle Stadium Singles video here on iStarly TV, part of my Road to Master series where I try to climb the online ranked Battle Stadium Singles ladder. And we have a brand new season of Regulation D Battle Stadium Singles, so this month of September we have the same exact rule set as last month, which is with, all of the Pokemon that were added with Pokemon Home. And I have a new team today, which we'll talk about. And the DLC releases next week, a week from tomorrow as of making this video, so I'm super excited for that. And it looks like the next rule set, starting on October 1st, will have all of the Pokemon in the DLC available. So, bunch of returning Pokemon and some new ones possibly. I know there are a lot of new Pokemon, or a few new Pokemon in the DLC, but I think we're unclear whether some of them are like legendaries or not yet. I imagine the dark ones are the weird, like the Okidogi and those three, I imagine those will be legal, which will be super exciting because those are brand new Pokemon. But anyways, let's talk about this season right now. So I have a brand new team here that I built, and last month I focused mostly on one team, and I'll probably go back to that team every now and then during this month, but this month is going to be a little more loose. The season did start as of September 1st, but unfortunately this is my first time playing since then. So I'm still in I got reset to Great Ball tier as everyone does. So we're going to try to climb back up. So this is my new team. I know it looks a little weird, but it's actually been really fun, and I did kind of build around Iron Thorns right there. So we'll kind of talk through that. I just wanted to try a different Pokemon that I had never really used before, and I was looking through the Pokemon that are available in this format, and Iron Thorns was something that stood out to me. It's pretty offensive, it's pretty strong, although it does have a lot of notable weaknesses, but I thought it looked really cool to build around. So I know this is a set that was kind of going around when the Paradox Pokemon were first introduced into the meta, and it has loaded dice with Rock Blast and Pin Missile and Terra Bug, which is really cool because Terra Bug is a pretty decent Terra type. Defensively, it removes a lot of notable weaknesses from Iron Thorns. It makes it resist fighting and ground, which it's otherwise weak to, and it takes away the water type weakness. So it's a good way of catching people off guard, although at the same time I kind of feel like people know about this to the point where when they see Iron Thorns they might expect that Terra type. But I still thought it was fun, and it's been decent. I mean, loaded dice is the item. Iron Thorns is a little awkward where its speed stat, when it's maxed out, is literally 1 point short of outspeeding Chien-Pao and Fluttermane after one Dragon Dance. So in order to outspeed those threats, we have to do 2 Dragon Dances. But it's good against Dragonite because it has a multi-hit move to break through multi-scale, and pretty decent against some of the other Pokemon in the meta. So that's kind of the starting point for the team, and then I kind of worked around it from there. So the next Pokemon here is a really interesting one, a Pokemon that I really, really like. I wanted a way to get some speed control on the enemies, and I thought of a fast Thunder Wave, so a Prankster with Thunder Wave. And I settled on Thundurus, and this is a bulky Thundurus. It's actually max HP and max special defense, or I think I tweaked it a little bit. It's almost max HP because of Stealth Rock, but it's basically, a bunch of HP investment, bunch of special defense investment to take hits better. I think I went for special defense just because it's better at taking on, obviously, Pokemon like Fluttermane and stuff, but Substitute is great with leftovers, and with Prankster, I can do it before the opponent, regardless of how fast they are. And then Thunder Wave, obviously paralyzing, fast threats. I think that's why I did it, because of Fluttermane. Obviously I can paralyze Fluttermane before they do anything. Notably, and this is something I'm going to really need to remember, since I think either Gen 7 or Gen 8, I think Gen 8, Prankster does not work on Dark-type Pokemon anymore, and of course Chien-Pao, one of the biggest threats in the meta, is a Dark type. So anytime I see a Dark type, I do need to remember that Thunder Wave will not work on them. It will not work on Chien-Pao. So very important to keep in mind. And then I have Thunderbolt and Flash Cannon just for coverage. Thunderbolt's a good move, Flash Cannon just for coverage. I wanted maybe Discharge, but I mean, it's kind of redundant with the Thunder Wave already. I know Discharge is pretty proactive because I can get some damage and have a chance to paralyze, but I just thought Thunderbolt was better. Plus, with the Terra Electric type, with the calcs, I think Thunderbolt just does a lot more damage. So yeah, that's what I decided with, and it's been good so far. I've been liking this Pokemon. Then we have Scizor, which is a Pokemon I've used a lot. I mean, I love Scizor, and this is bulky Scizor, max HP, max defense with Rocky Helmet. Honestly, I might end up changing that item because I've really been missing some form of recovery, and unfortunately Scizor does not get Roost anymore currently, so it just doesn't have a way to sustain itself. So it's really good at like scaring away Fluttermane and Chien-Pao because it can do a ton. It can one-hit KO Fluttermane even with no investment in attack, but again, if it's taking chip damage over the course of the game, it's a little rough. And also its moveset is not amazing too. I've found that there are times where I want it to have close combat. So I might tweak this set a little bit, but you know, Scizor is a good Pokemon still, and I think it's pretty solid in the meta, just being max HP, max defense with Rocky Helmet. It can tank a lot of hits from a lot of common threats. It's decent at taking on Dragonite. Again, it's good at scaring away Fluttermane and probably Chien-Pao, but there are certain common threats that make Scizor really scared, so we're gonna have to keep that in mind. And then I have Iron Bundle, which is, of course, as you probably know if you've seen this, probably one of my favorite Pokemon at this point just because I use it so often. However, I've broken away from my common Iron Bundle set. So I'm still using Terra Steel, which I kind of developed in my last video with my last, the team that I was working on last season. So Terra Steel, again, it helps me against opposing Iron Bundles because it makes me resist Freeze Dry, and then it helps against, it gives me a super effective move against Chien-Pao and Fluttermane, and I'm already faster than them. And this one has booster energy with max speed, so basically I'll be the fastest thing on the battlefield, and that's a good place to be. And then, you know, Freeze Dry and Hydro Pump, self-explanatory. This is max special attack, max speed. And then I have Whirlpool, which I was looking for a fourth move, and there are a lot of options. I could have stuck with Substitute because it's still a solid move, but obviously I don't have leftovers on this one, so, you know, I don't have that recovery. Whirlpool has been okay. You know, it's an interesting one where you can sometimes trap Pokemon. Like, for example, if they switch in, like, Toxapex, I guess, which I don't know why they would do that because of Freeze Dry, but if they happen to like switch in like a bulky Pokemon like Toxapex or even what's it called, Ting-Lu, you can trap them with Whirlpool and then just kind of potentially finish them off with one of your moves, which is pretty great, right? So Whirlpool, you know, it's kind of weird, but it's actually been working decently well for me. There are times where I kind of miss other moves like Encore or Sub, or even like one option could be like Electric Terrain, which would trigger Quark Drive for Iron Bundle in the future if I lose the booster energy, or it would also work for Iron Thorns. But I think this is fine. I've been trying it out and it's been pretty cool. Then we have Hippowdon. I wanted a Pokemon with Stealth Rock. I definitely thought about Ting-Lu, but Hippowdon actually seemed like decent sustain. You know, the ability to put stuff to sleep with Yawn is pretty good. I think in a lot of ways Hippowdon is worse than Ting-Lu at this point, you know, because Ting-Lu kind of does everything that Hippowdon does but better, and it's bulkier. But one thing Hippowdon has that Ting-Lu does not, of course, is the Sandstorm, the automatic Sandstorm with Sandstream, which can be very valuable, of course. So that's kind of what I went with. Obviously, Sandstorm helps Iron Thorns because since it's a rock type, it'll have its special defense boosted, but also if I Terrasilize, then it's going to take additional damage. So that's something I need to keep in mind. I haven't really been talking about Terra types either. I don't have a different Terra type on Hippowdon because, you know, actually I guess I have kind of talked about it. Yeah, you know, Scizor, it's Terra Water because that's good for Scizor because it's super weak to fire, so that mitigates that and stuff like that. But anyways, my last Pokemon, Volcarona, with Terra Fairy. I've used this one before. I think I tweaked the EVs a little bit just to give it a lot of bulk, but also a little bit of speed so that it outspeeds the usual suspects, Fluttermane and Chien-Pao after one Quiver Dance, I believe. And this is a great Pokemon. It kind of works in tandem with Iron Thorns, just we have two powerful setup sweepers that are scary and difficult to deal with and can do a lot of damage. So Volcarona just seemed like a last Pokemon to fit into this slot. You know, I kind of felt like my team was struggling against Pokemon like maybe Goldango and stuff like that, and so Volcarona just seemed like it helped a lot. So, you know, Pokemon that I'm worried about, I think a big one would be Dondozo, since kind of my two main win conditions are setup Pokemon, and Dondozo has Unaware, but we do have Thundurus and even Iron Bundle, so, you know, Dondozo's not that scary. Dragonite, as always, is pretty scary, but We have the Rock Blast with Iron Thorns. Obviously, Dragonite typically does Terrastalize, so it'll lose that rock type weakness, but if it goes Terra Normal, we can just switch over to Pin Missile if we want, and it'll do more damage than Rock Blast very likely. Well, once we Terrastalize, I guess. And then Flutter Mane and Chien-Pao, I'm actually not super worried about them. Like I said, it seems like almost every Pokemon on my team, except maybe the Hippowdon, is kind of meant to take them on pretty well. So anyways, that's enough talking about the team. I definitely put timestamps in these videos. When I talk about the team for a long time, I put timestamps in the videos. I should have probably started with that, but you probably saw that. So if you don't want to hear me talk about it for that long, you can just skip ahead to the first battle and go from there. But anyways, let's get to the games. Game number 1. The game must know that I have Iron Thorns on my team because they have one too, which is interesting. They also have, what's it called? Vivillon? I've said that, I feel like I've said that Pokemon's name like 20 different times over the course of its existence, but I'm not as afraid of it. That Pokemon can be a little scary, surprisingly, because if they have Focus Sash, they have Sleep Powder, and then with Compound Eyes, its ability, it makes Sleep Powder almost 100% accurate, so they basically like survive any hit, put you to sleep, and then set up a bunch of Quiver Dances. So it can be scary. However, I do have the Rock Blast, which will break through the Focus Sash. I do like Iron Thorns here, although notably they have Pokemon like Hippowdon and Basculegion. I think that's the female Basculegion, which I think has slightly different stats than the other one with adaptability. I think it has a different ability as well. Anyways, we need to get on this. I think Iron Bundle is a good lead. And then from there, do I like Volcarona? Not really, honestly. Who else do I like here? Do I like Thundurus? I think I like Thundurus, but the problem there is their Iron Thorns. The problem there is their Iron Thorns. I know that sounds weird, but I don't know. I don't know if those are the right Pokemon. I definitely like Iron Thorns here, and now I'm getting confused because they all have the name Iron. I like my Iron Thorns here, but again, the issues would be the Basculegion and the who else? I forgot. I was trying to think of 5 different. Very green. Sorry, I'm like all over the place here. Oh, they lead with this. Okay, that's annoying. Yeah, sorry. I know I'm like jumping from everything, but this is going so fast here. This is actually rough because, like I said, it's pretty likely that they are going to put me to sleep. Now, obviously, I'm faster than they are, and I have Freeze Dry, which will be super effective, but I don't have a switch into a Sleep Powder, so there's really nothing else I can do at this point. I'm just going to go ahead and Freeze Dry. I am looking to Terrastalize my Iron Thorns this battle because, again, they do have a few Pokemon that can hit it super effectively. And I think Iron Thorns looks pretty solid against a lot of their team. So they do go for the Sleep Powder. Makes a lot of sense. I did consider, and I should have actually done this. I did consider going for the Whirlpool first, just to do that residual damage over the course of the battle, and maybe that would allow me to knock them out even when I'm asleep, because it would do that residual damage. But they just go Hurricane, which I'm kind of happy. Wow. Okay, I'm not happy about that. Although that probably would have knocked me out anyway. But I was going to say I'm kind of happy that they did this just because I don't want them setting up a bunch of Quiver Dances. Although maybe they figured that at this point, since they're so low on health, they don't really want to risk that. I'm just going to go into Scizor now and finish it off with a Bullet Punch. I don't think they have anything that's like really scary that could switch into Scizor. Dragonite could be a little bit rough because I don't have too many ways of dealing a lot of damage to Dragonite. However, they also don't really have a lot of ways of dealing with me since I have max HP and max defense, and my typing's pretty good against Dragonite. I guess they could have Fire Punch, but typically Dragonite just has like extreme speed and Earthquake. Okay, they go into their own Iron Thorns, which might be the same deal as mine. By the way, I know it looks weird that I have Thief. Thief was good when I had like Citrus Berry because we could steal their item, and it's a dark move with 60 base power, so it kind of hits it decently hard. You know, I have been missing, again, like fighting type coverage on this Scizor, but anyway, in this situation, I feel like they're probably going to go Terra Bug. Well, they might go Rock Blast here, so I'm just going to Trailblaze. They might still Terrastalize. They actually have Thunder Wave, which is really interesting. It's funny because we went for Trailblaze, which of course boosts our speed, but now that speed boost is basically irrelevant because they've paralyzed us. But at the same time, like, I don't know if they were expecting me to switch. Like, obviously, if you see a Scizor you know that it's going to have Bullet Punch. So I wonder if they thought I was going to switch here, or if they just wanted to Thunder Wave. Wow, that doesn't do a lot of damage. I actually should have gone Trailblaze again, but they have Dragon Tail, so that's a little annoying. So this is like a kind of support-oriented Iron Thorns. I would love to set up a Dragon Dance with mine, but knowing that they have Dragon Tail, I'm not sure I want to do that. I do have Earthquake. I'm going to go Earthquake. They might predict this in Terra, but they don't. Okay. I did think I would be faster than them as well because they have, again, Dragon Tail and Thunder Wave, so I expect them to be a little bit bulkier, but I mean, Iron Thorns is already off to a good start here. This is a really cool Pokemon. I think I might Shiny Hunt for one. Let's see, the one Sleepy. Okay, their final Pokemon is Dragonite. So I think I have to Terra here because it's pretty likely that they have Earthquake. The funny thing is if they happen to have Fire Punch, then that's really, really bad for us. If they have Fire Punch, we might just straight up lose this game because, oh, they're Terra Steel. Ooh, that's actually not great. But yeah, if they have Fire Punch, we are now a Bug type, so they could kill us, and then Scizor, of course, is weak to Bug. So they're Terra Steel. We, of course, have Earthquake, and they know that, so this is a little weird. But, you know, I think that they did this defensively so that they can take a hit, because they know I'm probably going to go Rock Blast or possibly Pin Missile. But let's see how this goes. They go Dragon Dance. Okay, I don't like that. So they probably have Terra Blast. I wonder how much damage they do, because Iron Thorns has decent defense. Okay, we hit, luckily. So this will do some decent chip damage. It actually does okay damage. And then we're definitely just going to follow this up with an Earthquake. And again, depending on what moves they have here, we might be in a decent position. If they go Roost here, that's really annoying, but Earthquake will still do a lot of damage. Okay, they go Iron Head. I wonder if this kills us. So we know they have Iron Head, they have Dragon Dance. Okay, we don't die, and we don't flinch. Perfect. That's what we want to see. Oh, yes. Okay, perfect. Awesome. I mean, I guess it's not surprising I knocked them out, but I don't know. Dragonite is just so scary. It's like tanky, it's very offensive, it can just kind of do everything. But we get our first game with an Iron Thorns finish, and Iron Thorns really looked good there. I love it. It's an awesome Pokemon. Definitely have always loved Tyranitar, and, you know, just kind of a cooler, more... I don't know, digital, I don't know if that's the right way to say it, more metallic Tyranitar is awesome. And I'm surprised I've never used this Pokemon. I think it's because obviously my main game is Scarlet, and I have a Violet file, which is in Spanish, which is why it's a Spanish name. And I don't really have any, like, I haven't farmed that many Pokemon on it. Anyways, cool game one, awesome game one, let's go to game two. Cool Pokemon. They have the big three: Chien-Pao, Fluttermane, and Dragonite. They also have Breloom, which I do not like to see, but Thundurus is good against Breloom. I actually like Thundurus here. However, they have what's it called? The one at the bottom, Great Tusk, which I expect them to possibly lead with. As far as leads go, I think Breloom and I keep forgetting the name, Great Tusk, are probably the most likely, which I don't like to see. And then Chien-Pao also does lead from time to time. Those three, I like leading with Iron Bundle in that situation. But Iron Bundle's not great against Breloom, so I probably don't want to do that. I could lead with Scizor. Scizor's like okay against those. I guess it's not great against Breloom in that case. And then Thundurus is not great against... I don't think it's great against Chien-Pao. Huh. Don't really like this. Breloom, basically these, like, I kind of wonder if I should bring this just in case they bring Breloom, because I don't really have anything else that's good against Breloom. I'm going to do it, and that's probably really dumb of me, but I can bring Iron Bundle in the back, and then from there, what do I like? Maybe Volcarona. I mean, Thorns is okay here. Thorns is actually kind of decent here, but... yeah, I probably might end up regretting that. Because now my team is not looking great against Dragonite. So, although maybe they'll see, like, I don't know, Scizor and worry about that. I kind of feel when they see my team, they're probably going to assume I'm going to lead with Hippowdon. And that's something I should capitalize on. Like, I should start thinking about that. But they do lead Breloom, so I'm really happy I did this. Because I'm just going to sub right away. Now, Breloom has, obviously, typically it has Spore, Mach Punch, and Bullet Seed. If I sub, then I'm immune to Spore, or, like, I can't be Spored. And I obviously resist Mach Punch and Bullet Seed. Sometimes Breloom will run Rock Tomb. I think that might be one of its more common moves these days, which is obviously not great for me. But sometimes Breloom will also run Bulldoze. I know back in the day, Bulldoze was kind of the more common move because of Goldango, but we'll see what happens here. I'm definitely going to sub here, and they do switch. That's pretty good. Just getting behind a sub right away is pretty good because it means that no matter what they go into, we can kind of respond. And they do go into Dragonite, so I think I'm happy just going for Thunder Wave now, unless they're Terra Electric, which would be really weird. I don't think you'd ever see that in Dragonite. But or Terra Ground, which I think is a little more likely, but not likely. All right, so anyway, let's go Thunder Wave here, because Paralyzing Dragonite basically negates the Dragon Dances. I mean, maybe not exactly. I guess at the same time they still have extreme speed, so even if they're paralyzed, you know, it might not be the end of the world for them. But of course, once they're paralyzed, as far as speed is concerned, you know, that doesn't matter. Wow, they're Life Orb. That's so weird. But the thing about them being paralyzed is obviously they could sometimes miss their moves. So yeah, I was saying that Dragonite's pretty scary against my team, and this is really helping me because now their Dragonite's paralyzed, and very interestingly, their Dragonite is Life Orb. I kind of feel like I want to preserve Thundurus for that Breloom. I wonder if I Terra here. Against Bascule Legion and Great Tusk, I would prefer to Terrastalize Volcarona. But in this case, like, I want to Terrastalize here. I don't want to just lose my Thundurus, but I'm just gonna Thunderbolt. I'm not gonna Terrastalize just yet. I think that's very hasty. We do survive thankfully, due to the fact that we have some HP investment, which is nice. We get off some good damage with the Thunderbolt. So I like where we're at. I should have paid more attention to how much that extreme speed did, because, I mean, I guess now if they go into Breloom, if we take one more extreme speed, even if we survive, now if they go back into Breloom, we can't sub, which is not great. I wonder if they definitely don't have Rock Slide on Breloom because they didn't go for it. I don't think I want to switch in either of my Pokemon though, so I'm just going to stay in here. Maybe we get lucky and they get fully paralyzed. Although if they get fully paralyzed, we might not be able to knock them out. Wow, they do get fully paralyzed. The reason I said we might not be able to knock them out is because then they don't get the Life Orb damage. But it doesn't matter. Awesome. Kind of an annoying way to knock it out, but I mean, that's kind of why we're running Thundurus, is for the quick paralysis. And obviously a big reason to use paralysis is for that chance to miss, but the bigger reason is to slow them down. So they go Chin Pow now. Pow now. Okay, so now that we know their last two Pokemon, we can use this to our advantage. I don't think we want to stay in here. And we have not Terrastalized yet, so let's see. I think I'm going to go into Volcarona here. I think we'd like to preserve Thundurus for that Breloom. Breloom's definitely scary, although at the same time, maybe this is bad because Volcarona is pretty good against Breloom as well. So this might be a huge mistake on my part. They go Crash though, and we should take this pretty nicely. And at this point, I'm not going to mess around. I'm just going to go Fiery Dance. Like, they might miss an Icicle Crash. They might, I don't know, if they go for Sucker Punch, we should take that decently well, and they just canceled. Wow, all right. So definitely worried about the Breloom, worried about the Dragonite, but we ended up kind of navigating that battle to where they weren't as big of threats as they could have been. They were still scary, and I still had them on my mind the whole time, but you know, it's tough. Playing in singles is pretty tough because I feel like, I've said this before, but it feels like almost anything can be viable if you know how to use it, and it's really hard to make a team that's like prepared for everything, especially in the lower ranks. People are going to be using stuff that you don't face very often. Although at the same time, my opponent's team, those are decently common Pokemon, but you know, you can't really build a team that's like perfect against every single thing you'll ever encounter. You're sometimes going to run into stuff like this that just kind of throws you off. But that Life Orb Dragonite kind of helped me out there. I don't think you should ever run Life Orb on Dragonite because multiscale is such a big reason to use it. And if you have Life Orb, you lose the multiscale. But anyways, that was a fun one. Let's go to game 2. I'm sorry, game 3. Game number 3, my opponent has Palafin, love it. They have Amoonguss, absolutely don't love it. Again, I have Thundurus for that Spore. I kind of feel like Amoonguss is less scary to me than Breloom, because Breloom typically has Focus Sash, so you know that in certain cases, you know that Breloom is kind of like guaranteed to get off a Spore, whereas that's not always the case with Amoonguss. Anyway, they do have, what's it called? Grimmsnarl, which I kind of feel like they're going to lead with, because our team doesn't look amazing against Grimmsnarl. If they do lead with Snarl, what do I typically like leading with? Actually, I think I like leading with Scizor when that's the case. However, Scizor is just not that great against their team overall, so I actually don't want to bring Scizor, which is kind of rough. I could lead Thundurus, because I do have the Flash Cannon. Thundurus seems okay against this team, so I'm going to bring it. And then I definitely want things that are going to hit really hard. I think I like Bundle as well. Bundle's pretty good against everything except that now Iron Hands is a big problem, so I'm definitely going to want an answer to that. And I honestly just don't have that many good answers. It might just be this. Yeah, I think, well, I would have to Terrastalize in that case. Is Volcarona bad here? Ooh, it might be. I'm going to bring it though. That's the problem though. Looking at my opponent's team, whether I bring Iron Hands, I'm sorry, Iron Thorns, God, there's so many Iron names, but if I bring Iron Thorns or Volcarona, we want to Terrastalize them. Like, those are the ones that look, because they have some weaknesses on the opponent's team, so we would want to Terrastalize them. But Iron Bundle is another one that we would like to Terrastalize. Anyway, they lead Palafin, and I'm just going to go Thunder Wave right away. Now, of course, they could go right into Grimmsnarl here. I guess they could also go into Iron Hands. So there's a couple good options they have. Yeah, they just straight up switch out, which is pretty smart. And they're going to go into either Grimmsnarl or Iron Hands. Yeah, I think this is Iron Hands. So yeah, that was not great for me. I should have kind of predicted that. That's kind of predictable that they did that. So do I go into Volcarona? It doesn't feel great this early in the game, but I'm going to. If we can get a little bit of damage on Iron Hands, that makes it easier to deal with later with like Iron Bundle. God, sorry, I'm getting really tripped up with these names. And there's a chance we burn them. I did think they would fake out here. No burn? Okay. Okay, so now we have to think about what they could have. They could have Bullet Punch. They obviously are going to have some fighting type move. They could have an electric type move. So I think we're just fine. Oh wait, I think we do want to Terrastalize, because we have Terra Blast, which is super effective. Or do we just stay like this and Fiery Dance for now? I'm going to Fiery Dance first and just kind of see what they do. Not reveal our Terra type just yet. Like, we could go Terra Blast, but for some reason I'm feeling like it might not even do that much damage, because look how bulky this thing is. And I do think this thing typically runs, wow, that does a lot, but we do burn them, that's perfect. This thing typically does run, like Assault Vest, right? Which is pretty likely here. Sorry if you hear all my notifications. I'm turning that off now. All right, so now that that is burned, we can just Morning Sun. Now I'm just going to be annoying. Eventually I will Quiver Dance, but for now I'm just going to kind of, you know, just kind of see what I can get away with. And I definitely can just set up, yeah, I think we're in a really good position now thanks to that burn. And that's a big reason to use Volcarona, is because of Flame Body. And we don't need to Terrastalize just yet, because Thunder Punch is going to do the same amount of damage whether we Terrastalize or not. So, you know, I do want to just kind of preserve my Terra for as long as possible. And I think we're fine. You know, we could just go Fiery Dance. Like, we don't have to worry about dealing super effective damage to this Iron Hands, because at this point, you know, the fact that it's burned, I kind of feel like their Iron Hands is basically as, I don't want to say as good as dead, but like, you know, it's kind of not as useful as it otherwise could have been. So they go into Grimmsnarl. Now, Grimmsnarl is an interesting one. Typically, it's going to have screens. It could have Thunder Wave, but also it's likely to have maybe Spirit Break. So that's something we need to keep in mind. Once again, I could Terra and go Terra Blast. And honestly, so it's looking like Terrastalizing is the way to go for this battle, because Terra Fairy is pretty much like good against their whole team. It would still be nice to Fiery Dance though. Huh. I'm gonna Terra Blast. It'll do more damage to them. They could go Light Screen, which will be annoying. Obviously, so if I go Terra Fairy here, Terra Blast is super effective against Iron Hands and Grimmsnarl. And then as far as Palafin is concerned, I no longer take super effective damage from Palafin. So, I mean, Palafin's really strong though, so if they're like Terra Water, we could still be really scared of that. They actually taunt, which I'm really happy about because I just went for Terra Blast here, and they did not Light Screen, so that makes me really happy. We should get off a lot of damage here. We're only at +1 special attack, but, you know, this should still do a lot of damage because I'm a Volcarona. We do cleanly one-hit KO them. Perfect. Now that I'm at +1 speed, I mean, you know, and I have a little bit of speed investment, I should be faster than their Palafin, unless their Choice Scarf, which is pretty rare. I think if you're running Palafin, you want to, you know, do as much damage as possible. I'm going to go Terra Blast again. Oh, they go Fake Out. That's right, yeah. So they're going to Fake Out. I actually think I might Morning Sun. They still have not used their Terra. Oh, wow, they don't. Okay, they don't Fake Out. That's great. I'm not sure we kill them, though, because like I said, they have Assault Vest very likely. Yeah, this thing is so tanky. They go Volt Switch just to get off a little bit of extra damage against me. And now here's the big test. How do I match up against Palafin? Because Palafin's going to be scary. I feel like they're going to go Terra Water here. So I'm just going to click Terra Blast because there's no... I don't think there's any reason to Morning Sun. Right? Is there? If we get Flame Body, though, like, I think it's GG. If we Morning Sun, we get to full health before they attack us. I mean, they could have Jet Punch. I'm just going to Terra Blast. Just get off a lot of damage on this. Yeah, they're Terastallizing. This is going to hurt. This might just straight up one-hit KO us. We do have a little bit of defense investment, and we are no longer weak to it. But, I mean, it's a Palafin. It's probably Choice Banded. It's probably Jet Punch, too. Yeah, Choice Banded, Terra Water, Jet Punch. I guess if that's what they go for, then I'm going to... Yeah, then I'm definitely happy I did not click Morning Sun. Although, if we get knocked out, we get knocked out. Like, there's nothing we can do. Wow, we survive. And we get the Flame Body. Yikes. Okay, GG. That's rough. I know that's annoying. But again, that's, you know, a big reason to run Volcarona. Like, that's why Volcarona is as good as it is, just because it has all these things going for it. So, I mean, yeah, Volcarona really proved itself in this video, and I'm happy I added it to the team, because obviously I built it around Iron Thorns, but Volcarona seemed like it complemented Iron Thorns pretty nicely. So, at this point, I'm just going to spam Terra Blast. Just no reason not to. Like, well, I guess they Jet Punch here. Yeah, well, they're going to Jet Punch, but who cares, right? Like, and then we go into Iron Bundle. I guess, I mean, their Iron Hands is burned as well, and it's really low. But either way, I'm gonna go Freeze Dry. If they wait, are they leftovers? I just realized that. It's kind of weird, but hey, who am I to judge? I think Palafin has Bulk Up, so that's an option, I guess. You can run like a bulky Bulk Up Palafin with leftovers. That doesn't sound horrible, and you know, it actually has decent defenses and decent HP once it's transformed, so yeah, that doesn't sound horrible. But here we go Freeze Dry, and if they stay in, we knock them out. If they switch, we probably knock out Iron Hands. If not this turn, then the next turn, and they cancel. Perfect. Awesome. All right, well, this team, like I said, I was really excited to make a video with this team because it's a lot of fun, and I think it's pretty good. You know, we never brought Hippowdon, but you know, I think that's what I kind of recognized when I built the team. Like, Hippowdon's good for its certain roles. However, I did recognize that it was probably the Pokemon I was going to bring the least. Like, it still has an important role. You know, sometimes you'll want to bring it as a lead to help your Iron Thorns, but rarely that's the case. You know, it's just kind of there if you need it, but overall, you're probably going to be bringing it the least. But I have the team code at the beginning of the video if you want to try this team out for yourself. You know, I definitely have had a lot of fun with it, and I hope you do too. So if you do try it out, let me know in the comments how it went for you. And I did also want to show off my new drip, my new fit game. It's fine, you know. I did hear that, and I am expecting this when the DLC drops next week. I think there will be new clothing options for in the DLC. Hopefully there will be a lot of good mix and match opportunities or clothing, because a lot of the clothing, like the tops and the bottoms, you have to wear them together, so you can't like mix and match, which is really annoying. So this was like the coolest outfit I could come up with, and I know it's not that cool, but anyways, by the way, this bag, I remember in one of my other videos, I had the skeleton bag that was white. This one's red, and people were asking where I found it. I think I found it in the city with Iono, the shopping place there, like somewhere over here. I mean, either way, it was in Levincia somewhere, wherever they sell bags in Levincia. So anyways, thank you very much for watching. Please leave a like and subscribe for more Pokemon Scarlet and Violet videos. And let me know in the comments what you thought of the team and how excited are you for the DLC. For me, I'm like a 20 out of 10. See you next time.